We live in a world where everything is pushed upon us in terms of productivity, in terms of, outcomes, spreadsheets. It's not always about outcome. Creativity is part of our innate nature as human beings, as we are realizing more and more with the advancements in AI, in all things digital. You will always have the need to create something with your hands and be creative. And it made me realize that I had been suppressing that creative side of me for such a long time. It came so naturally to me. But the path to where I wanted to go wasn't an easy one.
Hello, friends, and welcome to the newest episode of Creatives on Camera. If you're an entrepreneur teaching, designing patterns, or running a shop and feeling like video is just too complicated or time-consuming, you're in the right place. This podcast is your guide to creating video content that connects authentically with your audience, builds your business, and expands your reach without the stress of a huge production or expensive equipment. We make it simple, effective, doable. I'm Lyric Montgomery Kennard, an artist, educator, and host of the show. Join me as we explore practical tips and strategies to help you confidently share your creativity online. Let's get started. Hello, friends. If you are at the beginning of moving your in-person teaching to online, you are going to absolutely love today's episode of Creatives on Camera. We are talking with Sonia Pal, who is an experienced teacher, but who comes with an entire lifetime of management and executive experience that she is putting to use. And the transition and her plans are incredible. I'm Lyric Montgomery Kennard with Creatives on Camera, where we help people just like you, artists, crafters, creatives, who want to share their gift online with students around the world who need that joy and creativity. Let's get right into it. Hello, I am here with Sonia Pal, who is a calligraphy artist at the start of moving her in-person teaching online. Sonia, thank you so much for being here and giving your time to our audience. Tell me a little bit about what it is you do.
Hi, Lyric. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for inviting me here on this podcast. I am a calligrapher, a surface pattern designer, and an educator. Currently teaching modern calligraphy to beginners so that they can learn a skill without any overwhelm. That's the heart of ASquareWatermelon.
Wonderful. The Square Watermelon. What a fun name. Where did that come from?
I was in the corporate world. I'm a physician by training, and I was working in clinical research where I had a team of project managers all over the globe leading very complex trials. And anytime they would come to me with problems, instead of giving them the solution right away, I would tell them, be like a square watermelon. And they would go like, what, huh? And I would tell them the story of a square watermelon, which is a real thing, by the way. In Japan, you have square watermelons. And the short version of the story is that this name comes from the square watermelons in Japan, because the farmers in Japan solved a very complex issue in a very simple way by putting a box around a growing watermelon instead of doing genetic engineering and coming up with other, hundreds of complicated ways of solving that problem of storing those big round watermelons and making them space efficient. So the reason I would tell them that is to think like a square watermelon. Oftentimes, the solutions to our problems are a lot simpler than genetic engineering. You just have to think differently. Mm-hmm. And that's the heart of the company that I have now founded. And at that time, when I was working in the corporate, I thought to myself, if I ever have a company of my own, that's what I would name it, because that's who I am. I look at things in a very different way, from a different perspective, and I bring a methodology that can be applied very simply instead of making it complicated. And that's what I do. I make learning easy and simple. So that's where the name comes from.
So, a trained doctor, how did you end up in the fine arts?
The story goes, once upon a pandemic, I fell into the calligraphy rabbit hole and emerged as a surface designer. And now I teach others how to live a meaningful, slow life, beautiful life, uh, honoring tradition and art in the modern day world that we're living in. So yeah, it was the pandemic that kind of brought me to, living through spreadsheets, constant ping and ding of notifications. I just needed time to myself to just bring that calm in my life. That's what introduced me to calligraphy, and that's how I ended up doing that. And the switch happened really after struggling for almost a year, trying to make the art form stick with me long term and not finding what I was looking for. That led me to ask the questions, okay, what is it that would be helpful to a beginner like me? And I didn't find anything. And so I thought, okay, so there are definitely people out there who are struggling like me, trying to learn a new craft and are overwhelmed with the information explosion that has happened over the internet. And how can I help them get to the place that they want to get to? So that's the short version of the story.
Right. So you haven't done fine arts your whole life?
No, I have not. I'm not a trained artist. I didn't go to school for art, and I'm pretty much self-taught. Yes, I've taken a lot of classes with the best instructors that you can possibly find anywhere in the world. I've actually taken classes with the scribe to the Queen's office in London, all thanks to pandemic, because calligraphy generally is an art form that is taught in person. And 2020 kind of forced everybody to go online, and I suddenly had access. And so I, in that sense, I'm not a traditionally trained artist who went to school for art.
But this is beautiful. This is the difference between the master craftsman and a teacher, right? You have learned enough, you've struggled enough, you've practiced your craft, and you're not the scribe to the queen.
No,
but you're the one that understands what a beginner wants and needs.
Correct.
And you've chosen, instead of, just staying in your own personal sphere, to turn back and help the people who are struggling the same way you did. This is the beautiful soul of generosity, of a teacher who wants to share the joy of creativity with the people coming along behind them on the same path.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting that you say that, because the decision to leave my corporate job behind and continue on the path that I'm on, it certainly wasn't an easy one. I got a lot of pushback from within the family, and people around me, my friends who know me so well, they kind of, it did not make sense to anybody. Why would anybody with a thriving career give up all of that and start on a journey that is completely different, that I've never done before? Only to...
Why did you?
I think so. At the surface of the brand, it might come across as a commodity providing service where you have all of these offerings. But there's something a lot deeper than just what meets the eye. The 20 years that I worked, with the kind of busy life that I had, traveling the world, always on my toes with my job, and 2 growing kids that I barely got to see. I'm sure many people can relate to that. When I picked up the calligraphy pen for the first time, I think it slowed me down more than any vacation ever could. And that kind of made me pause and look at, there's a lot more to life than just your work. Your work is part of your life. It's not just life. And especially for women who give so much to their family, to their career, um, always juggling, they put their own mental health, their own well being and calm at the bottom of that priority list. And it kind of made me realize that when was the last time I actually did something for fun for me? And there's so many people out there like me who probably have not had the chance to slow down, write something, make something with their own hands just for the joy of it. We live in a world where everything is pushed upon us in terms of productivity, in terms of outcomes, spreadsheets. You just have to have an outcome for everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's not always about outcome. The creativity is part of our innate nature as human beings, as we are realizing more and more with the advancements in AI and all things digital. You will always have the need to create something with your hands and be creative. And it made me realize that I had been suppressing that creative side of me for such a long time. It came so naturally to me. But the path to where I wanted to go wasn't an easy one. So I made my mistakes. I learned things like anybody does, watching YouTube tutorials, taking classes, not seeing progress, getting frustrated, being overwhelmed with the amount of information out there. Use these tools, use this technology, use these teachers. Was signing up for classes that I wasn't ready for, or signing up for classes that were too basic. And that's when I realized that I probably have a gift that I need to share with the world. People like me who want to learn it, but are not making progress because they're not being shown how to get there. So that was my mission and my calling. So it wasn't an easy one. Yeah, sure, I could have gone back to my old job and continued on, and
Mm-hmm.
but I've made this my mission in life right now to help others like me.
Let's talk about teaching online. Maybe you've thought about it, but it feels overwhelming. You're worried about being on camera, not having the right tech, or figuring out how to translate hands-on workshops to a virtual setting. I've been there, but here's the truth. You don't need to be a tech genius or have a big audience to make online teaching work. That's why I'm inviting you to my free Virtual Teaching 101 webinar. I'll show you how to take what you're already doing and turn it into online classes that reach students globally, all with minimal equipment and simple steps. When I made the switch, my income per teaching hour jumped by 7 times compared to in-person workshops, and I'll show you exactly how it can work for you too. Spots are limited, so don't wait. Sign up now at academyforvirtualteaching.com and let's get you started on this incredible journey. I'll see you there. Right. And it's meaningful. And, I grinned huge for a minute because it was like, oh, she's preaching my sermon. That's exactly what creativity and making does for people. It slows us down and helps us see in a different way. And it brings so much joy to the people who we can touch. And you're exactly right. There's information everywhere. You can learn anything online. But the difference between that and being with a teacher, a guide who understands you, and there are lots of other teachers that teach what you do, that teach what I do. But there are students enough for all of us, right? And there are so many people who need exactly the way that you are offering this, and it will bring joy into their lives. Let's go with how you started the business. You don't yet have a fully fledged online course business. Where is it right now? And where do you think you want to take it?
Yeah. So that's a very important question in my life right now, because one of the things, let me back up a second. So one of the things that I strongly believe in when you're in the coaching business for anything, when you're teaching something online or anywhere in person also, you got to have the core training. You you can't ask a football coach to go teach badminton, right? You have to have gone through that journey yourself. You have to have gone through those struggles yourself. Sure, there's no dearth of information online. And if you could learn piano online, all of us would be accomplished pianists today. But there's a reason why instructors exist. And the reason why I want to take this online is calligraphy learning is such a niche thing. It's not for everyone. And it's still a skill or an art form that is still kind of emerging. We've seen an explosion of it in the last few years, especially the last 5 years, with all of the things that have come across. And what I found was teaching it just in person locally limits my reach. It, I can help so many more people if I take it online. And people can learn it in person at their own pace, getting that access online. Even if they get like 10 minutes in the morning or 10 minutes at midnight, they can do it at their own pace, at their own
Mhm.
time. Whenever they want, they can pause, rewatch, however many times they want. So that's my main reason for taking my education online, to reach more people, to help more people, and give them a venue. One of the biggest gaps that I saw in the online teaching space, especially for calligraphy, was you would have access to classes. Most of them give you access to classes for a limited amount of time. And then that access goes away. And then you're like, okay, what do I do when I have questions now, or if I want to rewatch a lesson? So they give you, most of them give you a way to start, but not a way to make it stick. And that's the huge gap that I saw. So I have a methodology that I have developed over the years where I want people to not only learn, but I want it to become a lifelong skill that they can take with them anywhere they go. And that's the core of putting it online, because in person, you can only do so much.
Right. In person is lovely and it's a beautiful experience. And it sounds like you're pre-recording courses that will be an on-demand course instead of, time-limited live Zoom courses. And the whole reach of it and the access brings accessibility to so many more people.
Right. It'll be a mix though, Lyric. What I'm planning to do is have the founding member launch is what I am doing right now. I'm in the middle of a founding member launch where it's a lot of good information that comes when you're teaching in person live, whether it's locally or whether it's online, because you get questions right from the students. And I might be thinking one thing, but they might be struggling with something else altogether that I may not have even looked at from that angle and their perspective. So my goal is to do a founding member launch so that I can adjust my teaching according to the live feedback that I'm getting from my students. And I will have a limited number of people joining this first cohort. And then I will make the on-demand classes available based on that founding member launch. And it's really beneficial for the founding members because they get to see it from the beginning and have a say in how that program develops over time. And they also get access to whenever the online recorded lessons come out, the online version of it forever. So that's the model that I'm going after. This is just the beginning.
It's an excellent model. We have a workshop validation lab through the Academy where we do exactly that. And so many teachers, especially coming from in-person to online, that kind of terrifies them. It's flipping the script on its head. So many of them think they have to have the perfect course already built before they ever open registration. But when you bring in founding members, I like that word, founding members. We've been calling it the beta class, the testers, and they build the course with you, both as a student, both as the teacher. You both get a valuable learning experience, but the feedback you get as you build the course helps you build something that actually addresses real students' needs. We get far enough ahead of our students that sometimes we forget the things we don't know, right? And that's where those questions from the students are invaluable as you create a course.
You stole the word from my mouth, invaluable. And I'll give you an example. It's a recent one. So this past weekend, I was teaching an in-person class. And the way I teach it is, and it'll be the same model online, where I believe in making the lesson stick right from the beginning so that they can see an outcome really early on. So the way I teach
Quick wins.
Yeah, quick wins along the way that builds your confidence. So I have like 3 or 4 lessons, and then I generally have them do a project that solidifies the information that they've learned. They can apply it right away. So I was teaching last weekend, and I thought they wanted to learn fast. And I was planning to have like 3 projects done in the class. And as I was going through it, the feedback that I got was, no, slow down. We only want to do 1 project, but we want to do it right. So I had to immediately adjust and change the project in the class while doing it, just to make sure that I was going at the pace that they were ready for and not something that I thought was ready or good for them. So that's the invaluable lesson that comes with those cohort-based launches, so that they can learn at the pace that they are comfortable with. And the questions that you get, it's insights that you can apply right away.
Exactly. And they're the value for the teacher as well. It's an investment of time and resources to build the online class, but to have paid registered students as you do it supports you and builds a better course at the same time. I fully believe in this model. I've been doing it for years, not necessarily exactly for that reason. For me, it was, I have a class in my head. I want to get it online. I've been teaching it forever. And the only way I'm actually going to get around to meeting a deadline is being accountable to students who have paid. So I have always written up the sales page, opened it for registration, then, now I have to make it.
Yeah. And that's true. Actually, that's a very good reason to do that. And that's part of my reasons as well, because unless you have that accountability and commitment, you will forever be putting it off because you will never be ready. You will always keep thinking about perfection. And I just told my students this past weekend, because they were getting stuck and they were kind of slowing themselves down, making it overly complicated. And I was like, perfection is a myth. I eat it for breakfast every day. Don't do that. Just go with it, because this is, like, I believe in principle of five. The first time you do it, it may not look like it's perfect. You do it second time, third time, fourth time, fifth time. And only when you've gone through it a few times, that's when you will get the insights and realizations. So it's a very good model to just get out there and put it out there, because there's always room for improvement.
Always, forever.
And it's a great model, and gives you validation, like, especially when you're starting out. Are people willing to actually learn what you have to offer, or do you want to change it to something else? And unless you put that offer out there, you're not going to know. And let's face it, at the end of it all, it is a business. We still have to make sure that you have the financials to support the business, because it takes an investment to have those platforms where you're going to host those courses, do the recording, get the equipment, get it all set up and going, and your time investment. It's an energetic exchange, and I truly believe in that. And you have to commit as a student, and you have to commit as a teacher or a guide. It's a two-way street.
Perfect. Have you looked ahead at the tech stack, at the technical aspects of what vehicle you want to deliver your courses in?
Yes, I have. I actually did a soft launch of a very small course that I taught here at the NC Museum of Art last year, which was very successful. It was like met with a standing ovation at the end of it. It was a sold out class.
So validating. Excellent.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like sold out within hours of announcement. And I was like, are you sure? Like 2 days later, after posting it online, I was like, the class is full. Something is wrong. It's glitched or something. And they went back and looked at it, and like, no, it sold out within 2 hours. I'm like, okay, there's my validation. So I decided to put that online. So I did kind of launch it online on the tech stack that I believe will work for me long term. Because I think as educators, we might want to piecemeal things. It's not a good idea. I think it's important to have the setup, even if it's bare minimum. Go with something that will scale with you over time. So I looked at and researched quite a bit and found where my audience hangs out and what they're used to already and what works for me. So I do have a tech stack in that sense. So my course right now, there are a couple of courses that I put online last year. They are hosted on a platform called Circle.
It's a very good platform.
It is a good platform. I've been very happy with it in terms of the technology and the back end and the ease of operation and everything. So that's where my current courses are hosted, and I plan to continue with that. In terms of the rest of it, I think it'll build over time. People often think in education space that you need really, fancy tech and gear. I use my iPhone to do the recording. I just have a very basic setup, and I'm sitting in front of a window right now. I have natural light coming on my face, and I don't need fancy lighting. You just need to make sure that you have some sense of how to make it work for you at whatever stage you are. Does that mean that I will not invest? I will invest eventually, depending on how often I'm doing. We were just talking earlier on, I would love to have the gear and setup in my studio. I have a dedicated studio in my house. I would love to have a space where it's always set up for recording, and I can just walk in and get the course recorded or modules recorded and be done with it.
And that doesn't have to be any more than what you have now. The vast majority of our teachers at the Academy use their phone, and you just find the right thing to hold your phone, Sometimes the only thing next is some sort of fill lighting, because sometimes it's nice to be able to record at
Yeah.
night when the sun isn't shining, right?
True.
Um, so the very minimum, the very basics really is enough. But what you said is absolutely vital. Um, if you have to haul out all your equipment and set it up and put it away every time you film, it's just never going to happen. It's too much work, right? So having it set up somewhere where it's always there, but also not in the way.
Yeah. It's also important to understand that you need to be efficient with your time. It takes a lot of time to set up all of that equipment and put it away. And if you don't have the right setup, you're going to be wasting a lot of precious time that you could be utilizing towards actually making your course better, serving your students better, answering Q&As better, running another live Q&A if the students need it. So it is worth investing into the right equipment and gear, and even if it's basic, and having
Right.
that set up, it's critical in my opinion.
Well, and the right equipment doesn't have to be expensive or
No,
fancy.
not at all.
Yeah, you just knowing what works for your space and for your medium and what it is you're showing your students. That's one thing that we concentrate hard on in the Academy. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your money. Let's help you find exactly the right piece of equipment just to hold your phone so that you can pop it in and record every time you sit down.
I will give you another insight, because it will tie things together for people who are still thinking about, okay, I can just DIY it, and where your course might be helpful. Because I will tell you how much time and money I wasted on getting, a little stand that can hold the phone, another stand that can hold it in the front, and the camera holding features. And I wasted so much money. Had I known from the beginning what is the right equipment for the stage that I was at, and which one to buy at what stage, it would have saved me so much time and money, because I could literally put that in the trash right now, because it's like junk sitting in my studio that's not being used. You only need a few things, but the right ones. And calligraphy is the same way. You need the right tools, the right technique. And yes, you can find all of that information online, but the stage that you are at and what is required for that stage only comes from the experience of someone who has actually gone through those stages and can tell you exactly, oh yeah, there's the pros and cons of this one if you're at this stage. And if you're at stage 2, here are the pros and cons of A, B, and C. And then you pick your choice.
Exactly.
You have to have that guide to be able to do that.
If you could see the giant pile of equipment that's right over there, because I love the tech, and that's what I offer to my people at the Academy for Virtual Teaching, is I test out the equipment and think, could it work for this setup and that setup? And I do keep coming back to the same simple things over and over, because it doesn't have to be complex, right? But there's always something new and interesting to try out. And every once in a while, there is a really excellent, simple piece of equipment that will work for different situations. So the opportunity to have a guide with you who's been up the path, who has made all the mistakes, who understands exactly what it is you do and can keep you from making those mistakes. This is why YouTube is fantastic, but also why we need real guides. Like on YouTube, we can look at all the different video equipment, but those aren't made for people who are teaching arts and crafts and their art form online. Right? So often you see something that's amazing and think, that's great. And then it doesn't apply to what you do.
No, it doesn't. But there's another aspect to it which people don't think about. Oftentimes when you look at things online, with all of the information explosion, as I was referring to earlier, there's so much overwhelm and confusion. And what is the most precious resource that you have right now? It's your time and your attention, right? And if somebody can tell you exactly what to pay attention to in a finite time, would you not pay for that rather than trying to DIY yourself and waste an entire day just searching for the right video on YouTube?
Right. And the thing is, we often don't know what we don't know, right? So you can think you found the right thing on YouTube, but I mean, I've wasted days trying to find the answer to one small problem, but I didn't know the technical words to put in the search. I didn't know what to look for, what I was missing. And then you hired somebody and it takes them 10 minutes. Here, do this, this, this. I'm like, why did I waste days, right? I learned all my lessons the hard way. Other people maybe do it differently, but me, I have to make a mess of things first and then pull out the one nugget of, oh, that's the thing that works.
Yeah. And there's another thing that I'm finding is happening online with people getting better with marketing, with all the information now available to them through ChatGPT and whatnot. They're getting really good with marketing. But what you see online is they will show you things because they will only share things that people know once they've gone through it, but they're not necessarily the best things to show people how to get there who are watching. So it looks very easy, especially I'm talking about calligraphy in particular, and I'm sure you can relate to, and many artists who are also educators can relate. When you know how to do a thing or create something artistic, you've already gone through the journey, and in your head, you're just following through the steps, and you put that video out there and you assume that people will know how to get there. But are you really giving them the how-to, the means, and the methodology to actually get there? I think the answer is oftentimes no, is what I'm realizing, because I've been there. I've searched high and low for the calligraphy things that I was looking for. I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way. You're showing me the tutorial, but you're not telling me how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the other phenomena that I think is appearing more and more on the online space.
Very good. Since you're more at the beginning of your online course business, let's shift to talk a little bit about the marketing, about where are you finding your people? How are you building your list? What platform are you using to reach them?
So I have, I'm very active on Instagram. That's where my primary audience hangs out. I also have an email list. I think it's people are not going to come to you if you think you have a course and you put it online and hide somewhere and that people will come running to you just because your course is good. You got to talk about it. You have to be out there and really answering some of the burning questions that people might have so that they know they may not even know what problem they have for learning. You got to talk about that. Meet them where they are, show them that actually a solution exists for their problem. A, they have a problem. B, a solution actually exists for their problem, and that you are the one who can provide that solution, but also give them how they can sign up for that solution. Because if you don't put it out there, how are they going to sign up?
Right. So you have a gift for your students. You have to go to where they are and offer them that gift.
Correct.
But also, you have to have the system in place where when you offer it to them, they say, how can I get more?
Yeah.
So you have to have it set up so that they come into your list, so they come into your system.
Right. So the short answer to your question is I currently have 2 lead magnets. I have 2 online courses where people can get a taste of my teaching style, and if it's right for them, they're really low ticket offers. And then I am also active on Pinterest. I strongly believe in Facebook ads. I haven't done any so far, but you know how you're scrolling on Instagram. If I'm scrolling on Instagram looking for something, how ads pop up based on my interests. And it's useful because sometimes I may not even have thought about, oh, this is what might solve my problem. And I think Facebook ads are a really important aspect of any online educator, because then you can reach more people. So my list is currently very small in terms of email, but I'm slowly starting to build that. I started out this year. So, the goal is to now keep building it going forward. YouTube channel
Right.
is another one that I'm looking into, because I just put some really old videos, really just shorts on YouTube, and that is gaining traction. I'm like, I haven't looked at it on like months, and these are like really old YouTube shorts that I put on there, and people are suddenly following me.
We are huge at the Academy on using YouTube as your primary social media because we're hands-on makers, because we teach. And YouTube as a search engine, that's where people go to learn, and it will target your audience, right? So
I
again,
agree.
so I'm interested, you said your lead magnets, they're not a freebie. They're a low ticket course that people are paying for.
Yeah, it's a very conscious decision, and
Mhm.
I'll tell you why. I, I think anybody. So again, let me back up a second. I don't teach calligraphy to people who don't know if they want to learn calligraphy. I'm only teaching calligraphy to people who seriously want to learn it, but don't know where to begin and how to actually do it. So they've already made a decision. I think the decision making is such an important factor.
And those are two very different audiences, right? Somebody who doesn't know they want to do the thing and somebody who does, but doesn't know how to start.
Correct. And it goes back to my own experience back when I started. So the first year, I was just dabbling in stuff. I was taking random classes, not connected, zero progress made after 1 year. I was serious about learning calligraphy, but I wasn't finding anything that was structured enough, methodical enough to take me from point A to point C. Where is point B? We'll talk about that later. But point A to point C. So it's important to track the right kind of audience. And one of the ways to do that is have at least in my opinion, have a lead magnet that is a low ticket offer. Because once people are serious about learning a craft, they should be willing, they are generally willing to pay for it. And because it's a commitment on their part, now they've paid for it, and they will actually go through the lesson. They will actually complete the program, because the same lead magnet, I had it as a freebie, early last year. And I had several people sign up, and the completion rate was 10%. And that kind of sends a message, okay, it's the same class that I offered at the museum that people paid for like a decent sum of money to attend in person. It was raining, it was pouring, it was stormy that day. It was a game day. It was a traffic jam all along I-40.
Right? If you're in North Carolina, you don't go anywhere in that area on game day.
And it was a game night, and the traffic was packed on I-40, was fully jammed. And here I am sitting preparing for my class and thinking, oh my God, how many people are going to show up? 100% of the audience showed up in that pouring, stormy day. And they all showed up because they had made a commitment. They had handed over their money, made a decision. I'm in, teach me. And I think that's an important factor to make sure you're attracting the right people who really want to learn something and are committed enough. So that's my reason for not doing
I love it.
freebie. Yeah.
I love it. Excellent. Excellent, excellent. And that builds your list with very targeted people who understand and know you.
Yeah.
and it supports you as you go.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
This has been absolutely delightful, and just every word you've said, I'm like, yes, 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 yes. You are able to, you so clearly know and understand what it is you want to offer and how you want to offer it. And that's a beautiful thing for beginning teachers or people who are moving from in-person to online to
Yes.
see.
Yes. Thank you, Lyric. And I also want to share that the kind of people think that I'm starting off, but what people don't understand is I'm actually not starting off. I have 20 years of corporate experience of leading large global teams and how it functions. And I've run multiple global initiatives where I've had to do change management and implemented things. And I bring all of that learning with me, even though it's a different industry. The skills are transferable. So I think people, when you're looking at an instructor or an educator, you have to look at the whole entire picture and not just what they do as an artist. I'm a scientist. I'm a trained physician who believes in science, who believes in logic, who believes in method. And I've been training my teams all my life. Mentoring comes naturally to me. So it's a transferable skill that comes from a different industry, but it's very much applicable to where I'm going. So in that sense, I'm not really starting out as a new business person. I have all of that skill behind me.
Well, and so many people have so many other skills that they don't recognize as absolutely transferable to what they want to do going forward. People are phenomenal, right? People have so many abilities, and having the confidence to move forward and begin without it being perfect, without it being absolutely complete, just being willing to step off that cliff into the beauty of flight is such a huge thing.
It's a joy.
It is. It really is. Oh, this has been so much fun, and I cannot wait for the flight that you are going to take. Sonia, where can people find you online?
They can find me on my website at www.ASquareWatermelon, all one word.com. They can also find me on Instagram. I actually have 2 Instagram accounts. If you are into surface design, you can find me at Sonia Pal _creates. For calligraphy specifically, you can find me at ASquareWatermelon. And I have my waitlist now open for the upcoming founding member launch for modern calligraphy with brush pen, if anybody is interested in signing up for that.
Most excellent. We will definitely have all of those links in the show notes for you.
Thank you. It's been such a pleasure, Lyric.
It has. One thing I love to ask my guests right before we go is, what is the last thing you made?
What is the last thing I made? I made a, well, it's still in the works, so I won't mention that. I'm
in
doing.
process is fine. A mark. Make a mark. I made breakfast. I made a choice.
I'm making perfume bottle monogram. My husband is into fragrances, so he has a fragrance bottle that I'm doing a monogram on with engraving with calligraphy that is sitting at my desk right now that I'm going to surprise him with. So that's my latest one. And last weekend was Mother's Day weekend, so I made a greeting card for a dear friend who we were having dinner with. So but that was so much of joy, something hand created, and she loved it.
Beautiful, beautiful. Again, thank you, Sonia. I cannot wait till we hear from you again.
Likewise. Thank you, Lyric. You have a good rest of the day.
Seriously, Sonia and I could talk for hours, both about the business, about the beauty of slowing down and bringing that joy of making into your lives and how healing and how important it is to all of us. That, my friends, is the gift that you have to give to your students. I would like to invite you to share your gift and get the guidance that you need at the academyforvirtualteaching.com. You know, where we were just talking about what equipment to have and how to get your course online before you've even built it, how to have registered students. We have courses for that at academyforvirtualteaching.com, and a free membership where you can converse and be in the company of your colleagues, of the people who really get you, who understand how important what you do is in making the world a better place. So keep creating, my friends. Never stop. Keep sharing your gift. Thank you so much for joining me on Creatives on Camera. I know there are countless podcasts out there, and I'm honored you spent your time here. If you enjoyed this episode and don't want to miss the next one, please subscribe to the podcast. Then, if you'd like to stay connected and get even more tips on teaching, marketing, and video creation, sign up for my email list at academyforvirtualteaching.com. You'll get exclusive insights and updates delivered straight to your inbox to help you grow your creative business with ease. Lastly, be sure to check the show notes below in the episode description for links to everything mentioned today. And I'll see you in the next episode.